Our story begins in the early 20th century, a time of great change and conflict. To fully understand the magnitude of the event that would soon shake Halifax, it's important to paint a picture of the world as it was back then. A world embroiled in the throes of the First World War, a conflict of truly global proportions. It was an era that felt the tremors of change and turmoil, with nations pitted against one another, and humanity grappling with the horrors of war. Now let's zoom in on Canada. As part of the British Empire, Canada was a key player in this grand global chess game. Thousands of brave men and women were enlisted, their lives irrevocably changed by the specter of war. But the war wasn't just fought on the battlefields, it was fought on the home front as well, and that's where our story really begins. Enter Halifax, a bustling port city on the eastern seaboard of Canada. At the time, Halifax was more than just a city, it was a lifeline. A crucial link in the chain of war effort, Halifax was a strategic hub for the movement of troops, supplies, and munition from North America to the European front. Its deep, ice-free harbor and well-established infrastructure made it a key player in the war's logistics. Halifax played a pivotal role in supplying the Allies. The city's bustling harbor was a hub of activity, teeming with ships and soldiers. Its harbor was also filled with ships carrying troops and supplies, making it a bustling hive of activity. But amidst this hustle and bustle, the seeds of an impending disaster were being sown. As the war raged on, the bustling port of Halifax was about to face an unimaginable catastrophe. On the cold morning of December 6, 1917, two ships, the SS Mont Blanc and the SS Imo, found themselves on a collision course. A newly discovered diary reveals a harrowing tale from the past. Sailor Frank Baker's journal offers a rare glimpse into the events surrounding the catastrophic Halifax explosion. Today we journey back to that day through Baker's words, providing a unique perspective on a tragedy of biblical proportions. December 6, 1917. We turned out of our hammocks at 6:30 a.m. and followed our usual routine, wrote Royal Navy sailor Frank Baker. Assigned to the HMCS Acadia in Halifax, Nova Scotia, his daily duties involved inspecting ships for spies and contraband. But on this particular day, fate had something different in store. After breakfast, we resumed our cleaning stations, ready to scrub decks when the unimaginable occurred. Baker's first-hand account captures the colossal explosion that shattered the tranquility of the morning. What Baker experienced was the largest explosion before the atomic age, an event felt far and wide. The shockwave's reach was astonishing, shaking ships 150 miles at sea and jolting people 300 miles away on land. Within half a mile of the blast, devastation reigned supreme. "Our initial thought was a submarine attack," Baker recalled as they rushed to the upper deck. Instead, they faced a mountainous cloud of yellowish smoke and iron fragments hurtling through the air. Unseen by Baker, a tragic collision had set the stage for this disaster. In the narrow strait connecting the harbor to the open sea, the Imo, an outbound Belgian relief ship, had strayed from its course. The Mont Blanc, an inbound French freighter, couldn't evade the collision. The Mont Blanc carried a deadly payload, including highly flammable benzol in drums lashed to its deck. The benzol spilled and ignited, forcing the Mont Blanc's crew to abandon ship, Baker recorded. The ghostly vessel drifted, eventually coming to rest against a pier, where thousands of onlookers gathered, and then the Mont Blanc erupted in a cataclysmic explosion. A shower of shrapnel passed over the forecastle, Baker's account begins, shattering the glass in the engine room and chart room to smithereens, which came crashing down into the alleyways. As the explosion rippled through the harbor, the ship's interior was transformed into chaos. Fires burst out on the floor of the stokehold, the engine room's coal storage, he wrote. The stokers miraculously escaped harm. Nearby, a tugboat's crew faced injuries as their vessel's side was torn apart, with one crew member suffering a grievous wound. The explosion, unleashed by the disintegration of the Mont Blanc, sent iron fragments and black tar raining down upon Halifax. An anchor shaft, weighing over 1,000 pounds, was driven into the earth miles away. The blast tore a hole in the harbor's bottom, unleashing a tidal wave that upended ships and wiped away a centuries-old Micmac fishing settlement. A volcanic plume of gray smoke, sparkling fragments, and flame rose miles into the sky, Baker wrote, painting a vivid picture of the explosion's magnitude. Ashore, the devastation was indescribable. The NW part of Halifax was in total ruins, fires springing up everywhere, Baker recounted. Entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble, and fires consumed what remained. Poor little kiddies, homeless, their parents having perished, were crying piteously, he observed, capturing the heart-wrenching scenes of families torn apart. The human toll was staggering. Nearly 2,000 known fatalities, with many bodies unidentifiable, had already occurred by then. Some 9,000 were injured, including countless children. Many faced severe wounds to their faces and eyes as they gazed upon the burning Mont Blanc. The coming morning would bring a blizzard and deep cold, Baker noted, emphasizing the harsh conditions faced by survivors. Amidst the horror, Baker couldn't help but marvel at their escape. He recalled, "I cannot help but marvel that we escaped." The detonation released an energy equivalent to roughly 3 kilotons of TNT. To put that into perspective, it was the largest man-made explosion until the development of nuclear weapons. The devastation was widespread and catastrophic. Over 1,600 homes were instantly obliterated, and another 9,000 were damaged. Buildings crumbled, streets were ripped open, and the city's infrastructure was shattered. The death toll was staggering, with over 1,900 lives lost in an instant, and another 9,000 injured. The city of Halifax was forever marked by this tragic event. The bustling city was transformed into a wasteland of rubble and ruin. The explosion had not only destroyed the physical structures, but also the lives of its citizens. Families were torn apart, livelihoods were lost, and the city was plunged into chaos and despair. The Halifax explosion was a disaster of unprecedented magnitude. It was a catastrophe that shook the city to its very core, forever changing its landscape and its people. It was a stark reminder of the devastating power of man-made disasters and the fragility of life. In an instant, the city of Halifax was laid to waste, its people left in shock and despair. In the wake of the explosion, Halifax was a city in ruins. The once bustling city had been transformed into a landscape of devastation, with remnants of buildings scattered across the ground. Yet even in the midst of such chaos and destruction, the spirit of humanity shone through. Relief efforts began almost immediately. Despite the shock and grief, survivors and rescuers alike sprang into action. Nurses, doctors, and ordinary citizens worked tirelessly, tending to the wounded, searching for the missing, and providing comfort to the grief-stricken. The city was reeling, but it was not alone. Aid poured in from other provinces and countries. Ontario sent medical staff and supplies. Massachusetts dispatched a relief train filled with doctors, nurses, and essential supplies. The United Kingdom, still embroiled in the throes of World War I, sent food, clothing, and financial assistance. This international effort was a testament to the interconnectedness of humanity, a beacon of hope amidst the rubble. The process of rebuilding was a slow and arduous one, but the people of Halifax were resilient. They cleaned up the debris, rebuilt their homes, and worked to restore their city. But the physical reconstruction was only part of the recovery. The psychological impact of the explosion was profound, leaving deep emotional scars on the survivors. The city was forever changed. The explosion had taken lives, destroyed homes, and shattered a sense of security. But it had also forged a stronger community, a city united by shared experience and mutual support. The survivors carried the memory of that fateful day, a stark reminder of the devastating power of war and the resilience of the human spirit. In the years that followed, the city continued to heal and grow, carving out a new identity from the ashes of the old. Today, Halifax stands as a testament to the power of resilience, a city that rose from the ruins, stronger and more united than ever. The Halifax explosion left a deep scar on the city and its people, a reminder of the devastating power of war. Yet it also stands as a symbol of hope, resilience, and the enduring strength of the human spirit.